Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. This is going to be the first video from the Templar build. I decided to call it because you know GG doesn't want to give us the strength and intelligence class, so I guess we'll have to make one ourselves. Question mark. This is going to be the first video. In this video, I'm going to show you this character is pretty much right out of the campaign. I did like few maps, like I think 5 or 6 maps so far. I have to admit, I did a tier 10 map yesterday on stream, pretty much right out of the gate, right out of the campaign. I think I was level 66 or something like that. And I actually managed to successfully do this tier 10 map without deaths. And this is a way harder tier 10 map than normally, like, let's just say that on the league start, because I have all these points allocated already. So it's definitely harder compared to like a regular map. So the fact that this character, the warrior, can already do something like that, definitely shows a bright future ahead of us. But in this video, I'm going to tell you guys what I did during campaign, what I feel is going to be a very smooth experience. Before someone is going to say that my gear is insane or something like that, I didn't buy a single piece of equipment. The only item that was kind of twinked, let's just say, is this chest piece, but I didn't buy it, I found it on the previous character. That being said, I equipped it on level 58, so pretty much towards the end of the campaign. So, I mean, you can just buy a high armor chest for one exalt, and it's going to be the same, right? Pretty much. Other than that, this I crafted myself. This I found. This I found. All of these pieces of equipment I found myself. This is like this is the gloves from like Act 3, I believe. Nothing special here, right? Nothing special. Nothing special whatsoever. I died, I believe, once, and it was Act 1 on a boss, actually, on Grigor. I think is his name. And I did that only because I decided to tank his, like, frost breath or something like that. So, generally speaking, very smooth experience without really twink gear, I will say. Assuming that this was a league start, then of course your gear would be a little bit worse, but still, Perfect Strike hit so hard that the experience during campaign was very smooth. Now, let's see. I'm going to show you what this character looks right now with basically nothing, right? Basically nothing. And I'm going to explain to you because I kind of was keeping it. I don't want to say I was keeping it a secret, but you had not much information from me so far what this character is going to be. This is more or less is going to be Captain Poland from last patch. The only difference is that, well, there's actually going to be many differences. The passive tree is going to look completely different. I mean, completely, mostly. There's going to be a big twist where we'll be using life and energy shield and armor. So I'm going to be stacking strength to get decent amount of life. I'm hoping to get like about maybe 3.5k, which is going to be decent enough. And then on top of that, we're going to get about 3.5, maybe 4,000 energy shield on top, and armor. And of course, this is going to be a block build. We're going to get absolutely stupid amount of block with Swollen shield. Now, I'm not 100% sure if Swollen is going to be exactly what I'll be using, but most likely that's going to be the case because Swollen is fantastic. So, I will admit that block defensively feels really good. After playing Will Smith, which I do believe was a very, very, very tanky character, that being said, blocked while mapping is just like, it's busted, right? Because, like, due to the block, you pretty much, if your resistances are high, which currently they're not, I have, like, resistances right out of the campaign, like 50 resistance or something like that, almost 0 chaos. If you have a lot of block, you're really not going to see any problems whatsoever while mapping. And this build is going to have, I want to say, almost more block than anyone else. Because we are going to, compared to Captain Poland, which I didn't have 65% block with Swollen, I believe I had 60% or something like that. This build, due to the buffs that Warbringer received, will actually have 65%. Which means that this is a 65 lucky block. Which means that the effective chance to block is going to be 88, I believe, percent, which is absolutely cracked. That's absolutely insane. That basically means that every 9 hits, only 1 is going to actually connect, is actually going to do damage. The remaining 8 are going to miss. And since Warbringer is capable of blocking all the hits in the game, you can imagine how stupid that is, because that also works against bosses, that works versus anything. Like, for example, like you're fighting tier 4 Zesht, and these big hands that attack 4 times every like 10 or 15 seconds or something like that. There is a very good possibility, most likely none of them are going to hit you, like 0. And on top of that, we're going to have very high amount of energy shield, life combined, some life regeneration, I do believe as well. It's going to get really tanky. It's going to get really tanky. In order to be able to like you know, do everything and like get ES and armor and damage and all that stuff, we're going to completely forego elemental resistances. I do believe that 75% elemental resistance without spending more passive points on res is going to be totally fine, and we're not going to be trying to overcap fire res or something like that. We're just going to try to cap res and just leave it, right? And I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to feel fine. So I do believe that the build is going to be extremely tanky. Currently, I'm showing pretty much the version of the build I was playing with during campaign. That being said, of course, I'm going to swap to Warcries, because we'll be clearing with Warcries in the future. You know, Bone Shatter is so strong right now that it's honestly... I can't say that necessarily that Warcries will be much better than this, but the difference with Warcries is that compared to last league is that you can actually scale the AoE on Warcries now, which potentially is going to be insane. Of course, I need to experiment, I need to test everything, but I think that Warcries will clear absolutely fantastically well. And the best part about Warcries is they scale with the monster's life, right? So we'll be doing percent damage based on monster's life, and we can scale that percent damage with physical damage and damage modifiers. I believe also Warcry modifiers. So yeah, I think that Warcries will clear pretty damn nicely, and we're going to find out soon enough. I'll be testing after uploading the video. I'll be testing that on stream, excuse me, later. But yeah, as you can see, general mapping, even though with all these modifiers from the trees and stuff like that, didn't have any close calls really. It's just going smooth. Of course, this is a low tier map, but once again, this is a character without anything. Pretty much like, you know, few maps. I finished the campaign, I did few maps, and that's what this character is, right? So it's already is okay to clear because of how good Bone Shatter is. Of course, after the map, I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to talk about what you're supposed to get, what stat you should prioritize to have a good time during campaign. But spoiler, nothing has changed. It's always pretty much the same thing, because I feel like many people struggle much more than they should, simply because they underestimate armor and actually how decently useful armor is. Because many times people get overwhelmed and they get stunned and they get killed, and the main reason why that happens is because melee damage and most specifically physical damage. Because physical damage has higher chance to stun, generally speaking. It builds more like has more stun buildup and stuff like that. So if you completely ignore physical resistance, if you don't also like rely on stuff like avoidance or block or stuff like that, then having no armor is actually going to be problematic. So one of the main reasons I feel like why people drop some characters and they say, oh, this is unplayable. This is because you're just kind of underestimating this defense. Armor after buffs, it got buffed twice actually. The previous season they buffed the formula a little bit. Now they nerfed really hard the armor break on monsters, and also against pinnacle bosses armor is much better now. I'm pretty sure that if you like stacked 50,000 armor, and pinnacle bosses would be literally doing no damage to you. Because like most of them actually do, not every single skill of course, but many of them like just do like fizz. It's just fizz. Big fizz hits. So yeah. Where we're gonna start? Skill gems. So I've been doing classic first levels rolling slam into destroying people with bone shatter. As soon as I got leap slam, I started leap slamming and then exploding people with a bone shatter. Exactly what we did on Wolfsmith. Leap slam with I'm just going to sort them the level of importance. So overpower, then I do believe that this is a tier 2 support. So once you get to tier 2 support gems, you can get this, and then you get reach. Remember, do not get reach before you get resolute technique, because of course you'll be missing all the time with 80% less accuracy. So what this means is that we have more stun buildup. This is not our damaging ability here. We build like as much stun as possible. Then with Brink support, we prevent enemies from getting stunned. So the stun buildup is like at 99% or something like that, and that allows us always every single time to explode them, to shockwave them with Bone Shatter. And then of course reach for more area. Feels good to have more area, right? Very, very basic stuff. Then Bone Shatter with Impact Shockwave, because like with this, like you kind of get 2 shockwaves at the same time. Very good. Then more area of effect, self-explanatory, and Fire Infusion for some extra damage. I bet that you could put many other things here, but I decided to go for Fire Infusion because I'm actually not doing pure Fizz right now, because I have some fire damage on my mace. So it seems like this was a pretty good support for me to put in right now, right there, and that's what I do. Then we have Infernal Cry. One thing I'm going to say right off the bat, the first ascendancy points should be Warcolor's Bellow and Great Wolf's Howl. You might be surprised, I have been playing throughout the entire campaign with one-handed, so not a two-hander, one-handed mace and a shield. And you'd be like, oh, damage is probably going to be low with this, right? Damage is probably going to be not there with this setup. Because of Great Wolf's Howl, damage is more than enough. Great Wolf's Howl is such a massive damage multiplier. Because Perfect Strike, generally speaking, if you're just using one-handed mace, and this is kind of slow because I have a pretty slow one-handed mace right now. It has no attack speed whatsoever. So this is probably the slowest you can get. So with how fast it is, it's still like, you know, it's decently fast. Every single attack on Perfect Strike will be empowered by Infernal Cry because you don't need to worry about the cooldowns. That is absolutely gargantuan amount of damage. That is massive amount of damage that you'll be getting. And simply against packs, you just leap slam and you one-shot everything with Bone Shatter. And against rares, and if they survive, and against bosses, you just use Perfect Strike and empower every single Perfect Strike with this. And the best part about this is that you can use Raging Cry, which I've been using Premeditation for more damage, and War Cry for more damage, and Raging Cry for rage generation. With this, you can literally use your War Cry a few times, generate all the rage that you need, and then just Perfect Strike. And then War Cry once and Perfect Strike. Every single Perfect Strike is going to be empowered, and it's going to give you absolute buttload of damage. So with this, I've been literally like after I got these ascendancy points, I've been killing bosses incredibly quickly, just because of how much damage you get from this. So 100% recommend. Can't say enough good things about it. Absolutely use Infernal Cry and get these points as quickly as possible, boys. Another small reason why getting Warcry is better instead of going Shield first is that this node by itself is not really that amazing. All you need to do is find Shield that has increased block chance. That's not even a high value. That's not even a lot of increased block chance. It already has 37%. So there is no really need to get this one. This becomes broken when you get Turtle Charm. But just with this, it's just like, sure, with this node, you don't need to worry about block chance on your shield ever. So, I mean, it's okay, but it's like, you know, not that OP. Then Seismic Cry, I have it already, but truth be told, if you don't want to, you don't even have to use it at all, completely. I'm going to show you what I've been using. I've been using Corrupting Cry with Brutality for more damage and Swift Affliction for more damage. Both give you more corrupted blood damage, but so far I haven't been really. My entire tree, which is you're going to see very soon, is oriented around clearing with Bone Shatter and Leap Slam, not clearing with Warcries. I have no Warcries, no Warcry nodes at all so far. So after I decide that okay, it's time to start cleaning with Warcries, then I'm going to respec. But for now, out of all these area nodes. But for now, this is what I've been doing. So Seismic Cry, not really needed during campaign. And then Berserk, once you get it, honestly, like Herald of Ash is like so whatever compared to Bone Shatter, that it'll be doing basically no damage. So I decided to go for Overwhelming Presence to stun bosses and ignite them a little bit easier. Literally, that's the only reason. And of course, Berserk for more damage per rage, and we have rage always. On top of that, Cannibalism for life recovery, very good. And then Vitality for regeneration, very nice. And yeah, that's basics. It's deceptively similar to what I've been doing on Will Smith, but that seems to be the best way to level up during campaign, and the safest way on a warrior is to literally do Leap Slam into Bone Shatter. I'm sorry. Like, it's hard for me to imagine something that's going to potentially be, for how cheap it is, and like you basically need no gear. These shockwaves just like destroy everything from Bone Shatter. I'm sorry. It is what it is. They have very high damage multiplier. You're going to see I have Bone Shatter level 18, 16 from gems, and at level 18, the shockwaves do 637 attack damage multiplier. It's just it's massive, because all the monsters get you get like these shockwaves overlap, so multiple monsters get hit by multiple shockwaves, and then a pack just explodes. I could be using weapon from I don't know, Act 2 or Act 3, and these packs would be still exploding during maps, even like Act Tier 2, Tier 3 maps. They will be still exploding like instantly. So it's crazy. Now the passive tree. This is the passive tree is very simple, and what I recommend is getting passive tree looking like this. I'm going to go quickly over what you're supposed to get, and then once you get to the point where you want to start using Warcries to clear maps, which is I believe going to be maybe level 75, 80, something like this is my recommendation. Then you want to swap to then you just want to respec. We will not be using area nodes whatsoever. We'll be using something else. So yeah, about Ascendancy, I already talked about this. Then we have start basic stuff here, starting with melee damage to be able to like build more stun build up and like kill people faster. Brutal, then smash for damage. Area of course with Bone Shatter and Leap Slam is important, so we want to get as much area as possible early on. Then getting these armor nodes, Relentless, area over here, block, very nice. With 60% block at this point, I invested into some block passives. Once again, even with no gear, no resistances, no nothing, in early tier maps, it feels very comfortable. You saw my deaths, right? I died once in Act 1, and since then I haven't died a single time, even in the tier 10 map I was doing yesterday. So it kind of shows how, you know, block is of course dual wielding two maces with +6 to skills is like absolutely gargantuan amount of damage, but block defensively is good. I can't deny that, right? Then getting this block over here, one-handed cluster with attack speed, dexterity, very nice. Then this cluster, many people underestimate how good polished iron is. Literally, if you have high armor on your equipment, this gives you such massive amount of stun threshold. I honestly think that this should get nerfed a little bit, because this gives you so much stun threshold that you pretty much never get stunned anymore. Like after allocating this, I just stopped getting stunned. You just don't get stunned. You get so much stun threshold. I mean, currently this is going to be giving me like what 2.6. This is currently giving me like 1.5 thousand flat stun threshold. This is way more than my life pool is giving me. So like, take it and use it, boys. Absolutely fantastic. Can't say enough good things about it. This will basically stop you from getting stunned. And then I invested even into more armor and have Blade Catcher for some protection against critical hits and strength. Strength is always good. Keep in mind that this build is going to be a strength stacker. As a matter of fact, we will be getting to like 500-600 to maybe more strength because that gives us more damage from the Warcry. Then we have area, again, beef, fans' favorite. Then the cluster, then the jewel I found in the campaign, you know, a nice one. Probably going to use it for a little bit. More block here, stun threshold, and you know these nodes that I'm selecting here. This is pretty much the order at which you're supposed to be getting them. Something you can skip, for example, these 3 nodes over here. You can start doing something else. Maybe these 3 nodes you can skip, but generally speaking, this is how you're supposed to build this character, right? In that order. Then we have this. We're getting stun threshold and more stun threshold with life. Then this is a good time to start thinking about resolute technique, because you're probably not going to be like at 100% hit chance anymore, probably 90 or something like that. You can even rush a little bit faster and get resolute technique. If you're completely struggling with accuracy, it's up to you. Then we're getting this area cluster jewel, very important. Then we can get, depending on if you're struggling with mana, I swapped to blood magic very late. I think it was Act 6. I think I was like level 60 plus, because I didn't really struggle with mana that much before. But if you feel like mana costs are kind of annoying to you, then you can get blood magic earlier. It's up to you, really. With mana flask, it wasn't really a big problem for me. So yeah. Jewel socket, area. Then you would probably want to invest these points to get more melee damage. This physical damage and attack and cast speed, very nice. And at this point, you want to switch over here and start getting these damage nodes. Keep going over here, strength, and that's it. After that, I'll be going like over here or something like this. Yeah, basic stuff. Yeah, more or less that's how the passive tree is going. Honestly, this is not much different compared to Will Smith, because once again, Will Smith and the Templar had very similar start. Generally speaking, for a warrior, you're always going to have a similar looking start, and it's going to look something like this, basically. So, yeah. Items. Items, very simple. I'm going to go over that quickly. Weapon is self-explanatory. You want high physical damage, as much physical damage as you can get. If early on in very early acts, like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 or something, you're not going to get a weapon with a lot of physical damage, but instead it's going to be elemental damage, then it's going to be totally fine as well. Armor, in my opinion, armor pieces, so helmet, body, gloves, boots, and stuff like that, you just want one simple thing. You want to get as much armor as possible, and then resistances, in that order. We'll be getting a lot of strength, so life I don't think is going to be that big of an issue. And the more resistances and more armor you have, the less damage you're going to take. So even if you're going to be going through Act 5, Act 6 with 12 or 1300 life, you will not be dying, because monsters will be doing no damage to you if you have resistances and you have armor. So my recommendation, something like life you can get on jewelry, on rings, belt, and amulet. This is a perfect place to get some life, right? So it's always the same, right? Of course, you want to focus. One thing that is important, you want to focus to get movement speed on your boots. This is important because you know the zones are quite big, so you don't want to be walking through the maps one zone like 15 or 20 minutes, right? It's basic stuff. I'm going to exchange these boots like very soon, because they're just pathetic at this point. Yeah, that's for the gear. Rings, once again, resistance is life, resistance is life, resistance is life. It's always the same. Some all attributes or something like that to make you forget about costs here. Then belt, resistance is life, strength. It's always the same, right? And campaign is going to be smooth sailing. I'm not gonna lie, I think that warrior is absolutely fantastic during campaign. And generally speaking, in the end game also, I think a warrior is just strong. I legitimately think that warrior is just strong. It is what it is. You can meme, you can laugh at me, but I think that warrior is strong. It is what it is. So yeah, that's pretty much it. One thing I almost forgot to mention is quest rewards, because many people ask about that very often. My first quest reward was stun threshold, I do believe. I didn't take elemental island threshold, and I'm going to explain why now. charms got buffed a lot, and there is a very high possibility that you're going to have belt with like more charm slots than one. So the only two ailments really that are annoying is like freeze and shock. So if you have two charms, one with shock immunity and one with freeze immunity, then you're pretty much golden. So with the buffs to charms, I don't think that going for ailment threshold is really that important anymore. Maybe it will be more important for CI builds or something. But for us, I don't think it's worth it. So I decided to go for stun threshold actually as the first reward, and the second reward always it's always the same. It's hard to choose between chaos resistance and attributes. I decided to go for attributes because I'll need some dexterity and I'll need some intelligence in this build later on. So 5 attributes is essentially like 15 attributes for me. But if you decide to go for 10 chaos resistance to make gearing a little bit easier, then you absolutely can. You can't go wrong with that, right? And that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be progressing this character every single day. And you'll have updates how every single day there is going to be an update. I'm going to also put a bare bones, very bare bones version of this build on Mobalytics if you want to basically check this character right now, basically right out of the campaign. If you want to check what I was doing during the campaign to have the easy time during the campaign, you absolutely will be able to do so. And then over time, I'll be adding more stuff to this build guide and updating it with new info and stuff like that. So yeah, basically, it's going to be basically like Will Smith, where I just put like a very basic version of the build right out of the gate out of the campaign, and then the versions that I was when I was further improving the build, then there was. I was putting more versions of the build until the very late game version. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll be streaming probably like about 30 minutes on stream. The description is the description. The link is down in the description. If you want to join, feel free to do so. Thank you very much, and see you next time, which is probably going to be in 2 days. Bye bye.